Here's more wrestling news for December 19th, 2022. And we're starting off with AEW, who are always on the hunt for new talent, and this week saw the debut of an 18-year-old independent standout. At the latest AEW Dark tapings, Billie Starkz made her debut for AEW and is a name that is quickly becoming well known in wrestling. In addition to working with GCW and Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling, Starkz has competed with several lesser-known promotions in the 4 years since her wrestling debut. It's unknown who Starkz fought at the tapings for AEW Dark, but fans were excited by the news, with many calling on Tony Khan to hire her full-time. Khan has no problem with younger talent, signing names like Hook and the Gun Club to deals, and now Billie Starkz may be the next name in AEW's youth movement. At Survivor Series War Games, Becky Lynch made her in-ring return, competing in the Women's War Games match and getting the victory for her team. On tonight's Raw, the Man will have her first singles match in months when she faces Bayley, but don't expect a clean win for either woman. Zero News reports that a non-finish is the plan for the match, leaving room for a rematch down the line, likely with a stipulation. The non-finish could be caused by interference from Damage Control members Dakota Kai and Io Sky, who have often helped Bayley in the past. However, a non-finish implies that neither woman will be standing tall at the end of things, so Lynch may have some backup of her own, but we'll only know for sure on tonight's Raw. It was only this year that Logan Paul had his very first match for WWE, but the Maverick has become one of the biggest breakout stars of 2022. In his 3 matches for WWE, the YouTuber has blown fan expectations with his performances, and now WWE has plans for his return. According to Zero News, the plan is for Paul to return to in-ring competition next month, likely as part of the Men's Royal Rumble match. There has also been talks of Paul teaming in a tag team match with his brother Jake Paul, who also appeared at Crown Jewel for Logan's undisputed WWE Universal title match with Roman Reigns. While Paul isn't expected to win the Men's Royal Rumble match, his return will be a big deal and will mean he's ready to wrestle in time for WrestleMania 39. No opponent has been confirmed for that show, though Paul is hoping on a match with John Cena, but for now, the Maverick needs to focus on his Royal Rumble return from injury. Now, it was in September that Saraya debuted for All Elite Wrestling and competed in her debut match for the promotion at Full Gear. Saraya defeated Britt Baker in that match and has since made it clear that she wants the AEW Women's World Championship and could be turning heel to do just that. In an interview with Pro Wrestling Bits, the former WWE Divas champion spoke about her AEW future and teased a heel turn in the near future. "I remember saying I would be the heel to Britt, honestly, but she had a point. I mean, there aren't a whole lot of baby faces. There are a lot of heels in the company. Even though Jamie is a heel, she is a baby face. Let's be real. I mean, people love her. If I faced her, I would definitely be the heel, or even Willow, you know what I mean?" Saraya added that even in WWE, she felt more comfortable as a heel, despite spending the vast majority of her run as a babyface. Before Saraya can set her sights on the title, though, she'll be teaming with a mystery partner to face Baker and AEW Women's World Champion Jamie Hayter on the January 11th episode of Dynamite. There's no word on who her partner will be, but many predict Sasha Banks, and whoever it is, Saraya pinning Hayter would certainly put her in line for a future Women's World title match. Would you like to see Saraya as a heel? And do you want to see the Brit hold the AEW Women's World Championship? Let us know in the comments. At Ring of Honor Final Battle, Chris Jericho's time as ROH World Champion ended at the hands and the swing of Claudio Castagnoli. The Swiss Cyborg made Jericho tap out while in the big swing, but that title change nearly happened much earlier. According to a report from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, TBS were against the idea of Jericho competing at Final Battle, believing that the AEW wrestler should only be on AEW shows. In fact, TBS wanted Jericho's reign to end at AEW Full Gear last month, but it's unclear who they wanted to beat him, given that his opponents, Castagnoli, Sammy Guevara, and Bryan Danielson, are all AEW talent as well. It's interesting that TBS did not want AEW talent on the Ring of Honor event, but hasn't opposed ROH talent and those outside both companies competing in AEW TV. In the end, Tony Khan got the title change he wanted, overruling TBS's demand, and it's now Claudio Castagnoli who once again holds the Ring of Honor World Championship. From 2017 to 2018, there were few acts in wrestling naturally as over as Rusev Day, thanks to the Bulgarians' natural charisma with fans. The angle was made bigger with the inclusion of Rusev's wife Lana and Aiden English, and things quickly changed for the stable. In late 2018, English would turn on the group, which marked the beginning of the end, and during the Oh You Didn't Know podcast, Road Dogg Jesse James spoke about being questioned at the time if Rusev Day would work. So it's yes, we saw it. Yes, we saw Rusev Day getting over. I honestly don't know what happened to Rusev Day. One day we were pushing it and the next day we weren't. Honestly, when I say we weren't pushing it, it didn't go away. It didn't just disappear. We just weren't doing anything with it anymore. Every time I would pitch something, it would get shot down. So I don't know what happened. I'm not going to say anything because last time I said something, I got a phone call, and I'm not going to have that happen again. But honestly, I don't know what went down that all of a sudden we stopped running with it because it was going really well. Speaking about the end of the group and English's heel turn, Road Dogg said that this came directly from Vince McMahon, who was never the former NXT Tag Champion's biggest fan. I think it was getting over, and I don't know if Vince was a fan of Aiden English. I feel comfortable saying that. I don't know if he was a fan of Aiden English. He's a great singer, he's a great wrestler, he's not a beautiful man, but neither am I. Well look, his body looks like everybody else's. Just he's not tanned and he looks like me or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, he just looks different. And I don't mean nothing bad by that. You can't say nothing nowadays without having to qualify it with everything. God, the dude is not good looking. What do you want me to say? Not long after splitting with the group, Aiden English would be moved to 205 Live as a commentator, and while Rusev, now Miro, would have his moments of success, he was never as over as when Rusev Day was around. Speaking of groups, the Judgment Day has been around in WWE for less than a year and has had a unique time so far. After originally being founded by Edge, the Rated R superstar was quickly booted out, and now the group has found their footing. Speaking on the archive of B-Sox this week, Damian Priest spoke about teaming with Finn Balor, Dominic Mysterio, and Rhea Ripley, and said that their group is just getting started. Priest also mentioned that the Judgment Day has opened and main evented so many Raw episodes that they've lost count, but they're still not where they want to be. Despite a shaky start, the Judgment Day has become a force to be reckoned with on Raw, though the group is yet to hold any championship gold. Priest said in the interview that the group doesn't need titles, which, given how much focus they receive each week, certainly seems to be the case for the Judgment Day. When Bobby Fish debuted for AEW in October of last year, it came just months after his NXT release, and at the time, fans thought he'd be with AEW for a long time. After all, Fish joining AEW allowed him to reunite with Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly, but instead, he opted to leave in August this year when his contract expired. Speaking on the Wrestling Perspectives podcast this week, Fish explained his decision to join AEW as a simple one, as when he was released from NXT, he had a lot of big bills, including buying a house and planning a wedding. At the time of his AEW debut, Fish wasn't in a great headspace and opted for a one-year deal, with the hope being that he could prove his worth and earn more on the next deal. Explaining his decision to leave, Fish said, "We just didn't see things the same way," and he's since gone on to compete for Impact Wrestling. Right now, both Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly are on the shelf, and neither is expected to return soon. But we'll have to see if Fish will look to return when his teammates are fully healed. And we're ending with Jim Ross, who has done plenty in the world of professional wrestling, but few fans will know of his life-saving skills. When you think of JR, you probably think of his work as a commentator, and perhaps his rare matches on screen, but the AEW broadcaster once saved the life of a former WWE champion. As he explained on the latest Grilling JR, Ross was in a hotel in Stanford one night when he saw a dazed Sergeant Slaughter, who passed out outside the elevator door. In a very dangerous position, JR made sure Slaughter's body was safe and laid him flat while taking him through the seizure he was suffering from. JR said he didn't know if Sarge was going to make it, so they instantly called for an ambulance, and EMTs were able to take it from there. It's a good thing that JR was in close proximity of Slaughter and able to help him out, as it could have been a much sadder, more tragic story if he weren't around. That's our news for today, guys. Please watch our previous video, 15 WWE wrestlers who passed away in 2022.